The number one thing that you should be focusing on when you are looking at implementing an AI or an automation program is revenue. In this video, I'm going to talk about the single biggest thing that you need to achieve when implementing or looking at using AI and automation for the first time. And if you've not done it before, this should be the only thing that's on your mind. As with everything on the channel, this is all about the business side of AI and automation, making sure you can make informed decisions on the technology that you're using and the systems that you're creating. So, like I say, the number one thing that you should focus on as a business owner or anyone watching this is revenue. Okay, that is it. If you have never if you've never worked with AI and automation, or you've never worked with a third party, a consultancy, someone like myself, the only thing that you should really care about is generating more revenue, because it is the easiest thing to measure from an ROI perspective. And there's a few things in here that you can look to measure. So I'll go with the absolute simplest, which is how can you generate more leads? Okay, this is leads. Okay, the absolute easiest thing to measure. If you can create an automation, or you can use AI to help you generate more leads, you are ultimately going to be able to measure that ROI, and you should be getting a quicker ROI on what you've already spent. Now, you can do this in a few different ways. So you might have something like, so leads might be, how do you get leads? So we can do email. So a good email marketing campaign. We can do content. You obviously, there are other ways to generate revenue, but you can't necessarily automate them. So when you look at generating revenue, you could do referrals is one of them, but you can't do too much with referrals from an automation point of view. Damn, that was terrible writing. Referrals. You've got events. You have cold calling. So you've got emails, content, referrals, events, cold calling. Now, there's obviously within these, to generate more leads, the two that you're going to typically be able to automate most are going to be around email marketing. So our email marketing and content. Everything else is either non-existent for AI and automation, or is extremely difficult, or you end up doing it and doing it really badly. So actually, there is this cold calling is now. If you've probably seen like AI SDRs and BD people, I've seen not a single case study where that works, especially in like if you're a decent business and you want to sell your product or service. Doing AI cold calling and AI prospecting for your product or service is a very, very quick way to burn bridges, right? Especially if you're selling into like execs, CTOs, CIOs, CFOs, whatever it might be. So what we can look at is going, okay, so what do we want to do? We want to generate revenue really, really quickly. How can we do that? Get more people to buy our stuff. And what you can do is you can do a couple of email marketing things here. So we can create, using automation and AI, we can use, let's go here. We can do email campaigns. So email, man, I'm really terrible at spelling today. Email campaigns. We can do newsletter, which actually kind of comes under content, but targeted prospecting. So more targeted. So this is kind of like where, so email campaigns are relatively easy. We can build that, done that many times, or we can build email automation into our campaign, and we can run that campaign as well. So we can do, so what does this look like? This is like list building, enrichment. And then we've also got, you can like create a whole CRM with it. Sorry, I'm coming off the screen there. So yeah, we've got list building, enrichment, CRM. We've got a newsletter, which is kind of content. We can start to create a newsletter where you send weekly, daily newsletters. Targeted is a good one. So what we can actually do, how to generate leads. Let's say these two kind of cross-pollinate slightly so that you've got, I say slightly, quite a bit. So let's say we create a piece of LinkedIn content. So we've got a nice little bit of LinkedIn content here. We then have people that like this and interact with us at the bottom. Oh, sorry, I'm coming off here. So you can see, sorry, I was just drawing a LinkedIn piece of content here. We've got our people at the bottom that are interacting with that. We can actually run an automation that analyzes each one of these people that have interacted with our content, and we can then run an automation AI that then sends them a targeted direct email to say, hey, I noticed you interacted with this piece of content. You obviously would break that down, making sure they're in your ICP. So this piece of content might be about CTOs. You've got 3 CTOs out of 50 people that like the content. So those 3 times CTOs can get a very targeted email from you. Okay, great. Cool. And then we've got obviously content. So we've got newsletters. We've kind of said that already. We've got blogs. We've got video, images. We've also got text-based, i.e. LinkedIn. So revenue should be the absolute number one goal with any AI and automation. So if you said, actually, we have a budget, so we want to implement AI and automation, and we have a budget of, say, $10,000. You know what? Today is not the day for doing this. So we've got a budget of $10,000. Okay, what do we want to spend that on? Your goal should be, if you've got a budget of $10,000 to spend on AI and automation, no matter how you do that, whether you build that in-house and spend the time learning it, whether you pay someone like myself or another agency to do this for you, is understanding how can you make that money back as quickly as possible. So let's just say we'll keep it at $10,000. Let's just say that takes you 12 months to see that return. Okay, that's not the best return of investment. Okay, because by the time that 12 months comes along, you've probably had loads of other costs within that. But let's say you can build an AI and automation that returns that $10,000 within 30 days, or let's do 30/60/90. You're going to get a pretty good ROI on that. Now, it's important to really think about and evaluate just exactly your entire process when it comes to this. So a lot of what I talk about on the channel is the business side of things. It will never be as simple as people make it out to be, to say, I can generate you 50,000, or no, let's say you get people that say, I can generate you 10 qualified leads in a month. Okay, just be wary about that, because yes, that's that. Okay, well, what is a lead first of all? Okay, that then you then have to get into the intricacies of what actually is a lead. For me, a lead is only someone that wants to talk to you. In my opinion, it should be a lead is someone that wants to book a call with you and have a conversation with you about your product or service. That is it. You get a lot of people that say we can get you 5 to 10 qualified leads, but all they're putting out is lead magnets, and they're saying, comment to get X, or join X to get X, whatever it might be. And this for me is not a qualified lead, because you could put out a piece of content that says how to make, I'm just going to do something ridiculous here, right? How to make $1 million in 3 months. Comment X, comment 1 million to get my free playbook, right? If you get 5,000 people that comment and you send that to them, what is the percentage of those people that are actually interested in your product or service? And so I really think that it's important to define what a lead actually is. And for me, it's only someone that wants to talk to you about your product or service. That is it. And the best way to do that is to create very good organic content through videos, through blogs, through images, Instagram, through text posts on LinkedIn, or to send them emails. Or you can cold call them. But in this case, we're obviously we're only talking about email marketing and content. Obviously, you've got the other things in there, referrals, events, and cold calling. So when you're thinking about building an automation, primarily the number one thing you should be looking at is spending your money on something that is going to return you your money back and more. Okay, and it may be that it compounds over time, right? Anything else, I absolutely stay away from. Okay, and there may be some other intricacies within this that you can actually look at. So, let's say you have a really good. Let's for you do an example. Say you get your say you're getting good leads, right? Let's say you get 10 a month. Okay, now that's pretty good. 10 a month of people that want to book calls with you. Now, so that means, okay, that you're doing that already organically. Great. You're not using AI or automation. You've already got a marketing service that's doing that, or a marketing department, and they're doing great, right? They're getting a good return for you. However, what you're finding is that your conversion rate is 10%. Okay. So we've got 10 a month, and we're only converting one of those every single month. So 10 a month actually becomes one a month to a paying customer. Now, where I would look at, and where my brain goes to kind of look at this, is there is something that's happening in between those people talking to you and from you converting. So where in this space here, in this bit here, that between that happening, can you automate to make that process better and stronger? So although my example here is we want to generate more revenue as quickly as we can, there are potentially other tiny little kind of nuances within that. And so if we look at 10 a month and that's actually only one a month from a conversion, in here it might just be a simple like automation, or you might find out actually your sales team are just not prepared enough. Okay, they're just not prepared enough for that call. They might be good at sales, or they might be, even if they're average at sales, but they're just not prepared enough. They don't know enough about the company. They haven't done their research. They've been really busy. Is there an automation that we can build that sits in here? Okay, so we build an automation that sits in here that sends an email an hour before the call to the sales rep that's on that call, that gives them a breakdown and an overview of exactly everything this person, who they work for, what they're inquiring about. If you've got a half decent funnel, all of these people that they're coming to you and wanting to book calls with, they should have gone through some sort of questioning, some sort of vetting, so you know they're good people and they know they're serious. So, okay, is there a way we can send that to the sales rep through an automation, and the sales rep just gets an email that is prep call email, and it just gives you loads and loads and loads of details, right? So then for me, that's still a good ROI, because your conversion might jump. Let's say it jumps from 1, and it actually, with that automation, jumps to 3 a month. Okay, brilliant. So we're now converting 3 calls. And let's say your average deal size, I mean, I'm making this up at the top of my head, but imagine your average deal size is $5,000. You're then going from closing 1,000 to closing 15,000. I've done pounds there. That's because I'm in the UK, but dollars is international. So you've then gone to 15,000. Okay. Man, my writing today is real bad. Okay, cool. So immediately, that's where we can start to see the ROI in areas that you wouldn't necessarily look at. And the reason I want to do this really quick short video is because it's something that I think any business looking at AI and automation should not be spending their money unless it is going to make them money back. Because once you start to build a good AI and automation program that is giving you a good return and a measurable return, where it's generating you more revenue, you can then spend that in other areas where it may not be a revenue thing that you're looking at measuring, but it might be something else that's equally as important. But revenue is typically the most important thing that most businesses need. So once you've got this, once you've got a good system in place that's getting you more leads, or increasing your conversion rates, or whatever it might be, then you can look at other automation, and maybe you can then say, well, actually, we're getting our 3 a month. We built an automation to help us on here. So we've got our prep call automation here. What we then want to do is, because we've now run that for a few months and we've actually made back our revenue, we've got a good return on investment already, we now want an automation that, let's think what you would then have, potentially like an onboarding process. Okay, so then you might want to build an onboarding automation. So onboarding, right, that streamlines that entire process. So actually that builds trust with your buyer. That's quality, efficiency, and whatever else it is. And these things aren't always necessarily you can't always go, well, there's a direct figure or a numerical number to that. In most cases you can measure percentages and the data and all those kind of things. But typically then you can start to think, well, actually we're generating some revenue over here, which is great. So now what we want to do is we want to actually enhance the entire customer experience. And that customer experience that you're generating, that then does two things. Reduces customer acquisition cost, so reduces your CAC, and also increases your LTV, which is lifetime value of that customer. So CAC and LTV are important because if you create a really good process, there you go, you've got there, we've got here reduces customer acquisition cost and increases lifetime value, because you start to build that trust and that quality and that efficiency within your process. So then you can start to measure other things. However, like I say, any automation or AI program that you're looking to build and you've not done it before, the number one thing you should be looking at is revenue. That is it. Find something that's going to make you more money, because you can then reinvest that money into other AI and automation programs. So whenever I get hired to come into a business, the number one thing I look at is how can we make more money for that organization? Okay, that is it. Once we look at this and once we have completed this and we can put a big green tick next to it, once we work together for how many months and we go, right, brilliant, you've made money, you've made my cost back, how much it cost me to do it and build it, and then you've made that back, and then we can look at other areas that are important. Unless, of course, you're in a situation where you are making really good money and there are other reasons why you want to build automation and AI programs. But fundamentally, if you've never ever done it before, focus on revenue. It should always be the number one thing you need to do. Once you focus on revenue, once you get things going, everything else will fall into place. I just wanted to do a really quick video today to share that, because I think it's super important not to get distracted by other things. Always focus on revenue first. Revenue is the absolute most important thing for any business, anywhere, unless you're any private business, is to make money and to generate more customers, get more inbound inquiries and inbound leads, and then you can expand outwards. Hope this helps, and let me know what you think in the comments. If this is what you think it should be spent on. Always happy to be challenged if you think I'm wrong, and I'll see you in the next video.